final may have been played in Sydney, but as far as Central Coast and Newcastle fans were concerned, it didn't seem to matter as they packed the Sydney Football Stadium. But while these two teams are neighbours, there was no chance of this game being a friendly.
And immediately, the first tackle of the game at Mark Shields is going to have some sorting out to do then.
With the championship up for grabs, tempers threaten to explode.
First yellow card of the grand final is going to go to the combustible Joel Griffiths, and there's one or two angry voices being raised and one or two arms being lifted too.
Order was eventually restored, and it was the Jets that launched the first strike.
First real chance of the grand final.
It was an impressive first effort. Mark Bridge continued the Newcastle assault.
Bridge. Two good chances in 2 minutes for the Jets.
But while Newcastle dominated, the Mariners wasted the few opportunities they had.
Somewhat early. Perfect for their post.
0-0 at half-time. The Central Coast went on the attack after the break.
Ball in, and just wide by Aloisi.
But while the Socceroo was off target, Mark Bridge made the most of his opportunity after pouncing on a loose ball from Tony Vidmar.
Bridge! Oh, Bridge! Advantage Jets in the grand final! But close to the Sydney harbour, it just had to be Bridge who got the first goal. What a goal!
With one hand on the trophy, the Jets attempted to seal the match only to be called back. Then, with time counting down, the Mariners stepped up their effort.
Simon! Oh, he's done the right thing.
With the championship slipping away for the Central Coast, once again tempers flared. The Mariners were not only losing the fight, they were losing the war, as Aloisi appealed for a penalty. The Central Coast launched the final attack, but again were denied.
Gets on, over the top by John Aloisi. And there are more claims for a penalty this time. There's going to be a card issued to Danny Vukovic. He's been sent off for the second time this season. It's ending a disaster for the Mariners.
The Central Coast were in an uproar, losing their goalkeeper, and it seemed they had every right to be angry.
There was a hand up there.
But while there was chaos, the Jets wouldn't be denied.
Nothing away from the Jets. Newcastle playing a first ever championship.
Tim Wharton, Fox Sports News.
There it is, just the one goal. Olyroos striker Mark Bridge with the biggest goal of his career in probably his last game for the Jets ahead of an expected move to Sydney FC next season. Here's all the reaction.
You know, I knew that if we won it, it'd be an unbelievable feeling, that it's bigger and better than anything I ever expected. And then to get the Joe Marsden on top of that, he's just the biggest honour that, you know, I could ever think of. It's unbelievable.
You know, the goal is unfortunate for Vinny to make a mistake like that, but you know, it's very hard on us when we don't play well and we lose the grand final on mistake. So, but we kept them honest the last 2 minutes, and you know, a wee bit of luck, we should have got that goal with an equaliser, but it never came, you know. So, but we didn't play well, so we probably lost it.
There was an allegation of a handball or whatever it is in the box, but that's football, isn't it? Sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't. We had the same thing last week in the 90th minute, and we get a pen against us, and you know, you've got to get on with it. Obviously they were really disappointed because it's pretty close to the last throw of the dice for them, but and emotions spill out, which make it again, you know, very frustrating, because regardless of what happens today, there's going to be a winner and there's going to be a loser. And you know, lucky for us, we're on the right side of the ledger.
No one wants to be a ref, obviously. It's a tough job, and they don't have the benefit of the replays that everyone else can see. So he obviously didn't see the handball, and that's all I can say about that. But yeah, no comment.
Right, well, we knew there would be fallout from that game, especially after Danny Vukovic was sent off, and those heated exchanges at the end. We have been in contact with our football department and got vision of the contact that Danny Vukovic made with referee Mark Shields. He was out of goals because they were attacking late in the game. So he was already up at the other end of the field. But after the non-penalty or the penalty is not called, his reaction, he clearly strikes the raised hand of Mark Shield, doesn't he?
Well, no doubt about that. Just have a look at that vision. They backed themselves into a corner, though, here, the FFA, in some respects, because the Joel Griffiths incident from earlier this year where he struck a linesman and basically escaped what was only a very minor penalty for memory. So whether or not they go along those lines as the Griffiths incident being some kind of precedent, who knows? But there was intent there, there's no question.
And the maximum penalty is a life ban. So the Olyroos keeper is in some serious trouble. He has to explain why he made contact with referee Mark Shield in what was, let's face it, an aggressive manner. Now, who knows what's going to happen before it goes before the powers that be, but there it is. Make up your own mind.
And Coach Laurie McKenna said of that incident after the match that he's only a young guy, and the pressure and the disappointment of exactly what's transpired on the pitch over the course of the 90 minutes has played a big part in that. There's no doubt that when you're a professional sports person, it's part and parcel of what you do, isn't it? Being able to absorb the pressure and deal with it, and certainly lashing out at referees or umpires or any official in any sport is completely unacceptable. So whether the FFA use that earlier incident this year as precedent or make a stand and say this is totally not acceptable in our competition, we'll have to wait and see.
Yes, we have spoken to the FFA referees manager, Richard Lorenz, who confirmed that Vukovic has been charged with violent conduct striking a referee.
It's a scour way to end what's been a pretty good season.
Yes, we'll hear more about that in the next 48 hours, no doubt.
The other big story in football